Aloha, what's up everyone? Welcome to another episode of Ancient Oblivion. I'm JayDreamerZ. Welcome to my channel. Today I decided that we'll be talking about Freemasonry. The Freemasons, the history, the origin. I'm especially going to discuss what is commonly taught about Freemasonry, especially the symbolism, all the different symbols that oftentimes are presented to all of you as being internalized, as being purely symbolic, not being physical or literal whatsoever. So I'm also going to be inviting the chat, the people in the live chat right now, what's up everybody, to share your ideas and your thoughts, whatever they may be. There's a lot of gossip, there's a lot of rumors, there's a lot of speculation and a lot of guessing when it comes to who are the Freemasons. What is a Freemason? You know, what do these symbols mean? So if you follow my channel, I believe that I've been sharing the secrets of the Freemasons with all of you for quite some time. So today we're just going to be blunt. I'm going to hit the nail right on the head, and I'm going to be sharing with you what I believe the real secret is. Okay, so let's start off with the chat. What is a Freemason? What does that mean to you individually? So if you have a response, or if you have an idea, go ahead and jump in the chat. Type in @JayDreamerZ if you're able to, or @Jay. I might see it if you type in @Jay. And let me know. I'm going to ask you guys first. I want to know just the general consensus. Just what do you guys think as individuals over there in the chat? I'm not really asking if you like them or you dislike them. I'm asking, what do you think they are? What is a Freemason exactly to you? And if you do type in @JayDreamerZ in the chat and you have something to say, I'll go ahead and put up your comment on screen, just like you see here. Oh, I'm not raptured. Yeah, some people didn't like that I raptured myself on the last Omens episode. A lot of people did like it. I thought that it was I thought that was fun. Okay, but we'll come back to Omens and have a brand new Omens episode next Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. Okay, but yeah, I raptured myself on the last episode of Omens, episode number 100. I wanted to do something special, and I'm just going to chat while I wait for anyone to respond in the chat here. All right, so the first one I see is Javalaying, a secret society. Yes, very good. Yes, it seems to be a secret society. Now, if you look it up, they'll tell you that it's not really a secret society. Everybody knows about it. Everybody understands Freemasonry. You can easily Google or YouTube all of their secrets, allegedly. What do they mean? What's the purpose behind it? So they'll say it's a society with secrets. Not really a secret society. I'm telling you, it's both. It is a secret society, and it has different levels of secrets to it. Okay, so the Freemasonry that you're shown obviously is not the real secret society. It's a front. It's a cover. It's not real. And most of those Freemasons don't even know it. Okay, we got the Meridian in the chat who says, JayDreamerZ, Freemasons are the keepers of sacred geometry and slingers of pancake breakfasts. That's funny. The keepers of sacred geometry. Okay, I got you. I got you. I'm not exactly sure what that's supposed to mean, because I assume people can just Google what is sacred geometry and they'll get a whole bunch of information back. So maybe we can get more specific and go into that into more detail. Cat Van Du, what's up, Cat Van Du, says, JayDreamerZ, I think that it is a social group until you progress higher, but people don't. I do not know what happens for sure. By the way, the Rapture show was awesome. So I played some radio clips after I was raptured, and my favorite one was Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan in the apocalypse, interviewing himself because there's no one else left to interview. That cracked me up. I was laughing the whole time. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Yu's in the chat and says, Freemason is a fat white dude who has weird booty tickling meetings with his other grandpa friends. Okay. Keith, what's up, Keith? Says it depends on the level to which you are within the society. Yeah, but what is it just in general? You know what I mean? Just what is it? What is a Freemason? We got Aurel who says, Jay, son of a free man. Yes, a free man. What does that mean? To be free, right? America is the home of the free. Does that mean that America's just, we're all Freemasons, right? Are we really free here in America? We got Wave Anderson who says, JayDreamerZ, low level equals a rich man's club. A high level plus a high level equals hiding ancient knowledge. I like that. Okay, I'm going to get into the hiding ancient knowledge thing. What ancient knowledge specifically? You know what I mean? What is it that they're allegedly hiding? Let's see, what else we got in the chat? I have asked, if you're just joining us, what is a Freemason to you? What does that mean? What does it mean? You know what I mean? Just simply put, what is Freemasonry? What is it? Didn't they remove Tartarian maps? I don't know if I could just blame the Freemasons or whatever, but and I don't know if they're removed, but yeah, removed from the school system and academics, and they're not commonly taught. And I'm going to talk about Tartaria. I'm going to talk about the maps. I'm actually going to share and present some maps today. So we're going to, I feel like that is connected. So you're on the right path there, Benjamin. What else? It's a book club, says Eric Ibu Elliott. We got, the Handlers, says Marcus. What else we got? Java Lang says, JayDreamerZ, they have certain handshakes, certain positions they place their hands. Yeah, but why? What's the point of that? You know what I mean? I agree, they do have secret handshakes, but what's the point of it? Respawn Slayer says, the individuals who create the laws, our history, and build reality, and you got to go through their programs in order to be established. Okay, I like that one. I like that one. Not bad. I mean, it doesn't matter if I like it or not, but I just want to get you guys' opinions before I share mine with you. The Meridian says, JayDreamerZ, they trace their roots to Temple of Solomon. Yes, that's true. Or there's truth to that, which is supposed to, for some reason, carry forth from Babylonian mystery schools. I totally agree, and I'll probably touch on that today. What's up, Angel Wings? Good to see you in the chat. Let's see. Who else we got? Marcus G says, a system of total control. Okay. So we've got some similar responses, right? A lot of people are talking about secret societies and secret handshakes and kind of the people that control the world. And I totally agree. I don't disagree with any of that. I'm going to go ahead and move forward, though. And I have written all about the Freemasons in my second book, Return to Hyperborea, because it's an integral part of our history, collectively, of the world, and how we have modern society today, and where all of these things come from. But before we do that, I want to talk about the symbolism that's found within Freemasonry. Now, these are supposed to be secret symbols. If you try to look it up, or if you Google it, or if you ask ChatGPT, or maybe even your professors or whatever, what was the reason necessary to keep the society a secret? What is the reason for them keeping secrets themselves? They will go all the way back to the Middle Ages, and they will blame the church. And they will say, well, the Catholic Church had issue with Freemasons for some unknown reason, and therefore they outlawed Freemasonry. They outlawed it. So that's why the Freemasons had to go into hiding. They had to become secretive. But that doesn't make sense, because they were secretive before that. They had shared the same secret symbols and handshakes and signs and meetings and stuff long before they were outlawed by the Catholic Church. So that's a moot point. In other words, that doesn't matter. And it's not true. Okay? The Catholic Church did not make Freemasons a secret society. They did not force them to have secrets and keep secrets from the rest of the world. Okay? Let's see, we got Alex McCulloch in the chat. It says, JayDreamerZ, I think Freemasons are builders who are free to build as they please without regulation and without restriction. Okay, I think you're onto something there. Kim says, Jay, they believe they are the great I am, meaning they are their own God. Okay, interesting. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to jump back out of the chat now. Now, let's talk about the symbolism, okay? What really, really, really irks me, what irritates me, is that if you look these things up, there's nothing secret about it, allegedly, okay? You can look up the symbolism. You can have 1 million people on YouTube tell you, oh, well, symbolically, it means this, and it internalizes, and it's supposed to represent the goodness within all of us, and striving to be better people, and just a bunch of garbage. Okay? I'm just going to be blunt. That's all garbage. Does that exist on some level? Yes. But not on a level that necessitates and mandates secrecy the world across and across time. Okay? Excuse me. Yeah, internalization of your feelings and stuff. This is the same thing they do in the music industry when they clearly present to all of you riddles, secrets, in the same fashion of the Freemasons, because they're also in charge of, or have taken the charge of, the media. So these people that listen to music and they have no idea what they're singing, they have no idea what the lyrics mean, they internalize it. It's the easiest thing to do. That internalization is no secret whatsoever. We all can relate to the internalization, right? Oh, it's the third eye, it's the opening of the mind and whatever. That's no secret whatsoever. What is the secret is my question. The actual secret, the thing that you cannot Google, the thing that you cannot look up, the thing that you don't know about. These secrets that they're giving to you are obviously not secrets. When you can look it up, when you can Google it, when you can have people give you lectures on it. Okay? There is a real secret behind the Freemasons. And it's one major secret that has many implications, and it touches many other secrets. And it goes all the way back to the beginning. And it is recorded within the Book of Enoch. And it is a secret that is punishable within their own system by death. Okay, so it's not something you can just Google. Tommy Hicks is in the chat, says, have a good one, Jay. Been studying Mason since I was 5 and raised by one. Very nice. Let's see. All right, cool. Well, here's what frustrates me, okay? Is you can look up symbolism like the all-seeing eye here and the triangle and stuff, and you can get a plethora of wannabe answers of people who are internalizing all of these symbols. I'm gonna pull up lots of examples, okay, lots of symbolism, and I'll tell you point blank what they mean. I'm not going to internalize it. I'm not going to spiritualize it. I'm not going to say, well, to me, it means this. No. I will share with you what I believe to be, so far, the ancient secrets of the very world that you live in, and our actual history of where we come from, our purpose here, how we got to where we are, and where we are inevitably going to end up. These are the real secrets, I believe. All right, so first and foremost, let's talk about this one that's up here. Okay, you see this is one of the main ones. They have the triangle, the eye, the all-seeing eye. You see the celebrities doing this all over the place. And I'm going to talk about the different levels to Freemasonry. Some of you have already touched on that. Okay, obviously people at lower levels have no idea what they're even talking about, like Jay-Z or Kanye West or Eminem or any of these singers or celebrities that are doing all of the symbolism and the eyes, the one eye crap and stuff. Like, yeah, you guys pick up on that. That's great. Let's go beyond that though. Okay. Eminem is not a time traveler. Eminem is not one of the leaders of the Illuminati and privy to the secrets of the world or whatever. Okay. These people are trendsetters. They're mascots. They don't know what they're doing. They think they're a part of some inner group, inner circle, but they're not. For the most part. Okay, they have no clue what those symbols mean. They might have been told something here or there, but they don't know. Okay? I'm speaking in generalities as well. I'm speaking in general. There's always exceptions. But anyways, for example, this right here. All of these things go back to the beginning, as I said. Okay? The beginning of the written language. This is a message. Okay? Originally, before we had a written language, people drew pictures. Before we had glyphs that we call an alphabet, people drew pictures in order to convey a message to other people. Why did they do this? Because telepathy disappeared. There was a time when there was a one world language. That language was telepathy, period. okay? Animals could speak to people, people could speak to animals, plants could speak to people, plants could speak to animals. We could all feel one another. We could all transmit and receive to one another, to and fro. And it was natural. It was second nature or first nature. Why was that? Because our world was electromagnetically amplified. The atmosphere itself, all the way around us and running through us, and therefore connecting one another, was electromagnetically amplified. In short, the surface world where we live was energized to a strong and high degree. We no longer live in that condition. We no longer have that condition. We no longer live in that world. That was a golden age, hence the golden color, okay? Which you will find making its appearance throughout time. If you look at artwork throughout time, as I do, you will see that they quite actually paint the sky gold, because we go through a color spectrum shift in this world. Anyways, so many people tell you, oh, you know, the triangle, it's like Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and it's this, that, and the other thing, and the three triune, whatever. No, it's not. This is a delta, and it means, and it meant, the triangle meant, the letter D meant a door, period. That's it. That's originally what it meant in ancient Phoenician, which I believe to be the first written language after picture form that actually had pictures to begin with. And then they evolved, or they grew, or they de-evolved into what we call glyphs, which means forgetting the picture form, shorthands of the picture form. Okay, this right here is an opening. It is a doorway. It started off as a straight line and then a hump underneath it, which is the apex dome of the firmament above, which is the ultimate stargate, which is the opening to our world, which is the quintessential door of the earth. Now, over time, especially when you're carving it into rock and you try to draw the ceiling of our world, you make a straight line, you go down, you go back up, and it becomes a triangle. Okay? Sometimes the triangle is inverted, sometimes it's right side up, sometimes it's sideways. The direction of our glyphs has rotated over time as the electromagnetic frequency has flipped over time, resonating throughout us, throughout our minds, our physical brains, and causing our brains to flip upside down and causing us to write things upside down and speak backwards. So, the triangle is a door. It is an opening. It is an opening where? As I said before, originally, it was a picture of the apex dome of the firmament. So it was an opening in the heavens. It was an opening in the sky. It was a portal that opens up the closed system that we live in from time to time, creating atmospheric depressurization and leading to the apocalypse, the plasma apocalypse, as I like to call it. Now, there's further evidence to support the idea that the triangle is a door, and not just any door, but the door that is in the sky. The eyeball, right? It's not a human eyeball. It's not a person's eyeball. It is not the eyeball of some humanoid god that walked on the earth. It is the eye in the sky. It is a piece and a part of the physical, actual barrier that is above the earth, that in antiquity was known as the firmament, or the Velkin, or the vault of the heavens, the ceiling to our world, to the surface world where we live now. It humps down. It bows inward at the apex of the firmament itself, which is like a bowl over the earth, and then it comes back down. There is a time when our world is electromagnetically charged, where there are geoplasmas, gases that erupt from within the earth. They turn into plasma. They shoot up as beams of light, lighting up the very firmament itself, which is a reflective surface. What does that mean? That means that it reflects our world back to us, and we can look up in order to see down, which is how ancient cartographers could map out the entire world when they have never even been to the entire world. But this is the eye in the sky. This is the hump. This is the apex dome. It is a portion of the actual physical sky that we live in. It lights up. People interpret it, some people do, as an eyeball, as a great eye in the sky, in the heavens. It is a wheel in the sky. It is a circle. It is a planet to some people. It is many things, a spaceship. I mean, you could interpret it in all kinds of different ways. Simply put, it's a piece of the firmament, which is made out of ice. The gases up there are frozen. They freeze into ice. Now we have light coming off of the eye, so people will assume, they'll internalize it. They'll be like, oh, it's knowledge. That light is always knowledge. It's just light illumination, and now I'm illuminated, and now I'm just smart, and therefore light. No, this is not your third eye at all. Okay? This is not your pineal gland. This represents a physical place in the world, a portion, a part of our world. It is the hump above that opens up when the actual firmament cracks open, and light from beyond that supplies us with focal points that we call the sun and stars, and projections that we call the planets and the moon. That light passes through the firmament and gives us a spectacular display. But it's based on plasmas that are swirling around above and around our dome, waiting to get in. That dome protects us from those highly strong electromagnetic charges and thunderbolts of the gods. When that eye opens, the light descends. The plasmas above come into this world, and you will see it surround that eye and swirl about that eye. Sometimes that eye is seen as a face. It's just a circle in the sky. Or sometimes it's, kind of an oval shape if you're very far away and you're looking at it from an angle. If you're directly underneath it, it'll be a circle. Okay? But remember, it's a hump. Okay? It's not a circle. It's just a dome. It's an inverted dome. A bowl. Okay? And it's attached to the top of the firmament. Anyway, light comes in. That's why the light is surrounding this eye. And it leads to a golden age. It leads to a time whenever there is energy aplenty in the world that we live in. And this is why you have all of this golden color. Now, directly beneath that eye, at the North Pole, at the exact center of this plane of existence that we live on, not a spinning, wobbling, tilting, flying space ball, at the very center of the North Pole, there is Atlantis. There is a circular island. I'll show you, because it's integral to this theory that I'm proposing to you. Okay? This is at the center. This is from Gerardus Mercator's map of the Arctic that he drew during the Middle Ages. Okay? Now, if you look on modern maps, you won't see a circular island. You won't see a holy mountain at the middle. But that mountain at the middle is also a doorway. It is also an opening. It leads into the earth. It is the largest opening throughout history, according to the different myths and legends and religions and everything. It is the quintessential holy mountain. It is also symbolically a triangle. This is the earthly triangle here, and this one over here is the heavenly triangle with the eye inside of it. It is a doorway. There are two doorways located at the north. One is an earthly doorway, which is this one. The other one is a heavenly doorway. There are two places we can go, two directions that we can go when the doors of this world open. You may go downward into the earth, or you may go upward out of the earth and go into the liminal spaces between worlds beyond. Okay, if you go down into the earth, you're going down into the halls of Amenti. You're going down into the pillars of creation, the columns of the world, the support structure of the earth, and vast cavernous systems. All right, let me jump back to this picture. I just kind of want to go in order here. So, as you can see, I am not internalizing this symbol. Okay, I'm not saying to me it's this or that. I will speak as a matter of fact, but I am speaking for myself. I'm speaking from my personal perspective. So in essence, I guess you could make the case that it is, I am saying to me it means this. Okay? But it's not internalized. It has nothing to do with my own self-illumination. These physical things about our physical world, they reverberate throughout everything. So you may internalize them, and it will still be true. Because you are a small version of the world that we live on. You are a small version of the entire cosmos. So yes, We can drop our perspectives and we can look at things from a lower level. It just depends. It depends on what we're comparing it to. But I will not do that. I will stick to the actual physical, real secrets of the world that we live in, of our history, not internalizing it so that it's open to interpretation. So, you can also see it's kind of like bricks. It's sort of like overlaid with bricks and stuff like that. Sometimes they merge the two symbols. So sometimes people will confuse the earthly opening, the earthly doorway, with the heavenly doorway. And they'll put them together because they're located at the exact same place, which is the North Pole. Technically, the apex dome is the South Pole. Okay? Technically. So this map over here, this is the North Pole. Technically, it's the South Pole. Remember, we live in an upside-down world where everything's backwards, okay? So your compasses point north, but this is really south, okay? Electromagnetically speaking, at this particular moment, during this age, that's south. We would call that the North Pole because it used to be the North Pole. That gets pretty confusing, but just stay with me. Hopefully it'll make sense. Anyways, if there is a firmament above us, and if it is magnetic in nature and has its own magnetic frequency that goes all the way around it, then the middle on the surface is north. The top is south. Okay, it just naturally would be that way. So the apex dome is actually south. Anyways, let's move on. Let's check out some more symbolism. Okay, so this right here, I don't know if you guys have seen these before, but this is an image symbolically of what a Freemason is, but it's not, it really is what they believe in. So they'll throw together many different symbols that are all very much related over time, and we have forgotten these symbolic elements. So for example, let's start with the sun face. This is not the sun. I'll tell you right now. That sun that's outside right now that you think is the sun, which is not the sun, that's just a focal point. It's getting hotter and hotter and inevitably is going to burn the earth. This right here, the one with the face on it, the one with the squiggly lines, see how some of the lines are straight and some of them are squiggly? Anytime you see what you think to be a sun and it has squiggly lines, that is not the sun in antiquity. Not within Rosicrucianism, not within alchemical drawings, not within Freemasonic drawings. That is not the sun. Usually, there's exceptions, okay? Sometimes people mess up and they put the wrong symbol in the wrong place because they don't know what they're doing. But the squiggly lines are plasma that is coming out of this face, which is the face of Medusa. These squiggly lines are the serpents. They're plasma serpents, they're dragons, they're fireworms that come out of that apex dome, as I mentioned at the beginning. And that is seen as some kind of a god, a powerful being. It is seen and it is symbolized as something that represents another time. A time of magic, a time where everything was different, where it's more fantasy. And our fantasy, our fantastic records, your movies, your books, and all of these things that are considered fantasy, they are retelling the story to you. They're not lies. They're not made up. They're not fiction. They're fact. They're just fact that's been forgotten. That's all fiction is. Now, let's see. You can see that there's the all-seeing eye right there around the neck. I'm not going to get into all of these. I'll talk about the apron here in a minute. The two pillars are pretty crucial. The concept of the two pillars to Freemasonry. And I do talk about the two pillars. We're going to get into the two pillars and what those symbolize as well. Somebody had mentioned in the chat mathematics, right? That is important. This right here is a symbol that they use for mathematics. Okay, just to represent their math. Math is crucial because it represents the left-hand path. Numbers represent the left-hand path. Pictures or letters, which are the same thing, they represent the right-hand path. I'm not siding with either one. I'm not saying one is evil, the other one's good. I'm saying they're just simply opposite energies of one another. They're the same, but if you look at it through polarity, they're on opposite ends, okay? If you look at the tree of life, math represents the left-hand path. It represents an insectoid mentality, a robot mentality, where the ends justify the means, where you have a goal in mind and it doesn't matter how you get to that goal as long as you get to that goal. The right-hand path is much different. The right-hand path is more emotional. The right-hand path is more pictorial and includes feelings. and things of that nature. They still have the same goal. They still have a goal, but they have a different method as to how they reach that goal, where the ends do not justify the means, or the means justify the end, or however you want to say it. Black and white checkerboard. Okay, this has a lot to do with how our worlds look when you travel beyond the firmament, and you have these dark worlds, which are these dark cities, like the movie Dark City, right? We have a dome above us that cuts us off from the light and the glory of quote-unquote heaven. Therefore, we are in a dark world. When there is no light erupting from inside of the earth, and we live in an age of light, which is how the Freemasons refer to the beginning. They refer to that particular age. They call it Anno Lucis, which is the age of light. What light? The age of like enlightenment, like knowledge or whatever? No, it's not internalized. It's actual physical light, where the earth provided its own light sources that erupted from caves and volcanoes and stuff. Anyways, but the black and white symbolism also harkens to this mountain at the middle of the world. Let's go back to that mountain. This is crucial because it's quite actually, literally, physically the crux of the world. It is the world tree. It is the axis of the world. The center point. This right here. Okay? This provides the biggest beam of light during that particular age. This mountain is called, if I can zoom in on it, Rupas, which means rock, loosely translated. Nigra, which means black. And if you can see there's more lettering here, we might as well decipher the rest of it. This says Et Altissima, which means the highest, high and lofty. Or, what's that guy that made all the Marvel comics? That old man, Stan Lee. Excelsior. This is the reason why he says Excelsior, because he's a part of this club. To some degree. Okay? People just think he's a goofy old senile man. It just says some goofy word. No. Not at all. He's saying it purposefully. He's communicating with his fellows. Excelsior is a reference to this black rock. Now, black, right, is only half of the black and white symbolism. We've got the black and white floor, right? The floor represents the earth, black and white. These are the shifts that we go through. This mountain is only black during this age where there is an ocean. It is black because it is rusted, in short. In the same way, you can take a nice silvery frying pan or something, get it wet, leave it out, and it'll start turning black, okay? That might not be the absolute way that works, I don't know, but I'm giving you an analogy, okay? Now, the rust is taken away, and this magnetic mountain, this is probably made of magnetite. That's my number one on the list. I think there's other elements in there, there's other materials that this is probably made out of, but it's a magnetic rock. Probably, my guess is iron and magnetite together. Regardless, when you shoot electricity, plasma, through this mountain, all throughout this mountain, those geoplasmas erupt. The electroplating, the electricity, runs throughout the mountain, and it cleans it of all of that rust. And it makes it shiny and bright, and it looks white. It's a bright white beacon, which is why originally the Great Pyramid in Egypt, which is a type of this mountain right here, a place of power, as there are many around the world, originally they put white casing on the outside, right? But that white casing was taken away whenever the oceans were introduced. So anyways, black rock, white rock. It's not always black. The black rock represents the time we now live in, which is directly connected to Freemasons, which is directly related to the people who now rule the world, which is directly related to the people who used to come from this area of the world, and they lived for a very long time, and therefore it made them very intelligent, and they were kicked out. They were forced out by a cataclysm. And they traveled around the rest of the world. They became proficient in sailing, and they sailed around to all of these inhabited areas where the outsiders lived. And they ingrained themselves into different societies as they were nomadic, and they went from place to place with their high degree of intellect, taking over the world slowly. And that's why you have the company BlackRock. This is why your judges wear black. It harkens to this holy mountain, this mountain that is set apart, this mountain that is energized, this mountain that is a beacon and the antenna of Earth. Still, today, it's putting out a frequency. If your compasses can pick up on it, you can pick up on it. If your compasses are influenced by it, you are influenced by it. And it is not the only mountain up here in the Arctic that influences the rest of us. There are others. That's why it's called septentrion, as you can see down here. The ocean septentrionalis. You see that? Septen, 7. Trio comes from the root deru, which meant tree, but it also means terra, which is earth. The 7 mounds, earth mounds, tree projections that come up out of the earth. The 7 mountains. Your governments actually have something called the 7 mountain mandate, but that's a different story. Let's get back to the symbolism. Let's see. What else I want to talk about here? Oh, let me read this at the bottom. So there's a little poem down here at the very bottom. And it says, a Freemason. We'll come back to what Freemason actually means, okay? The etymology of Mason and stuff. A Freemason, formed out of the materials of his lodge. Okay? Behold, a master mason. Okay. Anytime you see double letters, that's something important. Okay? They do that purposefully. That's why all your superheroes have this double letters in their first and last names. Okay? Especially if it's some derivative of E, W, M, okay, 3, however you want to do it, 3, right? It's the number 33. Why? Because this mountain at the middle of the world is said to be 33 miles in circumference, all the way around. Now, we can use mathematics to figure out how big the rest of it is, because now we have a starting point. Quite literally, physically, at the starting point of the earth, where everything begins. This is the Garden of Eden. This is Hyperborea. These are the 4 rivers right here, okay? The 4 biblical rivers. Now, are there types of this island around the world? Yes, there are types. There's smaller types. There's types of this mountain. There's types of these rivers, but they're not the quintessential one. This is the quintessential one. Let's get back to the symbolism. All right, so I'm going to share with you some of these drawings, okay? Some of these drawings that have Freemasonic symbolism embedded all throughout, all right? Now, there you can see the triangle, the eyeball, and the light in the sky. It is in the heavens, as I discussed earlier. This symbol should never be, on the side. It should always be predominantly in the middle and at the top. Why? Because it's at the middle and the top of our world. This represents the apex dome. This light you're seeing is a dome. It's hard to see because it's just drawn on 2-dimensional paper or whatever. You need to apply 3-dimensional views to it. Okay? What you're looking at, take out the picture in the middle. Okay? That's actually the eye. If I just put my hand in the way of that stupid triangle, that's the eye. And you notice there's clouds all the way around it, because it's depressurizing the atmosphere, creating fog and mist and stuff. Okay? This is the dome up above. This is a portion of the dome that dips down and creates that hump. You understand? There's the light coming out of it. There is a comet, right? There's a chromatic aberration, which is what that is. Comets are not snowballs in space, as you've been taught and you're continually taught. And we believe for some reason that story's ridiculous. They're light. There are points of focus that are out of focus. That's called a chromatic aberration within optics. which is what the sky acts as, a lens that light passes through. What else we got here? Now let's go beyond this. Now you always know this is not the sun. This is a primordial sun. It is a type of sun. It is an object that lights up and we can see it. This is Kronos. This is Saturn. This was an immovable object, an immovable light source. This did not move. It did have its own phases, just like the moon. Okay, so sometimes the light would create like a crescent in different ways or whatever, but it does not move. It is always at the North Pole and takes up a huge portion of the sky, which is why you can see it's much bigger than the actual sun, which is over here, or the actual moon, which is over here. It is a third object. It is a third light source up in the heavens, or was. And it will return, and it will be again one day. And they hearken the day when this returns. Some of them. They also, I mean, it's not like they just look forward to the next golden age here on Earth. They want to open up, they want the sky to open up so that they can blast off with their new technology, rockets and jumpsuits and, you know, astronaut suits or whatever, and leave this world behind. NASA is designed for the elite to escape the apocalypse. They're doomsday preppers. They don't tell everybody. They don't even tell people that work for them. Because there's not a lot of seats available on the rocket ships. Because there's not a whole bunch. Okay? But at the end of the world, believe me, you will see hundreds and hundreds of rocket ships. All of them blasting off towards the North Pole. To get the hell out of here. Why? Right? Why wouldn't they want to stay in a world that's going to have this influx of energy once more and go lead into a golden age, and telepathy will be everywhere? Because they have learned how to live in abundance by controlling people. You can't control people when everyone is telepathic. It's hard to be deceitful. It's hard to pull one over on other people when in a world full of telepathy, okay? Which is the next age to come. Now, let's look at some of these other symbolic elements. Look at these stars. Let's count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, let's go do some research. North Pole constellation. Ursa Minor. Let's type in Ursa Minor. Now, the pole star, the North Pole, Polaris, is a part of Ursa Minor. Let's pull up some images. I want to show you guys what it looks like here. All right, boom. Here's Ursa Minor. All right, so Ursa Minor, this right here is the pole star. Okay, so at the very tip of this handle or whatever. Now let's count. This is the constellation that represents the North Pole because it has the pole star up here, which is called Polaris, or the strong pole. Right? It's not exactly at the center, but it's close enough. So this one symbolically represents the apex dome. It is not the apex dome, but it represents it, okay? So let's count how many we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 7 stars. When you see 7 stars, they represent the North Pole. They represent the heavenly type, and they represent the earthly type. I'll tell you exactly what I mean, and I will hide nothing. Let me get back to that picture. Okay, anytime you see 7 stars grouped together, sometimes they'll actually put it into the actual constellation. They didn't do that this time, but whatever. That represents the North Pole, right? Some people will call that the little bear, so they associate bears with the North Pole, the bear symbolism. No, it's got nothing to do with that, okay? These are the 7 stars in the modern world where you can look up and see the North Pole. The pole star, right? But it also represents, like I mentioned earlier, the 7 mountains, plasma volcanoes, that are located on the physical North Pole. 7 other magnetic mountains that shoot their own beams of light up into the atmosphere, and they also influence us, just as the central one influences us. Hajim, what's up, Hajim? Welcome to my channel. High five. All right, now let's move on with the symbolism. So we've got the sun. We've got the moon. This is clearly a third body that's much larger than both, of light, as you can see, right? Then you have this archway, right? Anytime you have an arch like this, and you have two pillars on either side connecting the arch, it represents the firmament itself, the dome. This is our earth. This is our sky. So if you draw a flat line underneath it, that would be like the ground. Okay. There's a lot of symbolic elements in this picture. Okay. Sometimes they're larger, sometimes they're smaller. We can figure them out. This is the dome. There is an opening right here, and the light from this other version of the apex dome, the plasma, is coming down into our world. That's what's happening here. These are the people who are trying to make it happen. Okay? They're trying to jumpstart the apocalypse, it seems. I don't know. If I were to guess. But anyways, so the light is coming down. It is coming into our world. This is where the sky opens up, is at the apex of the firmament. That plasma comes down into our world because it's electrical and it wants to ground itself. It's attracted to the earth. Danny, what's up, Danny? High five. Kimberly, you're so thoughtful. Kimberly says, can we get 200 thumbs up for Jay? That'd be sweet. I'd appreciate it if we could. Thank you. All right, let me get back to this presentation. Appreciate you guys. All right. As you can see, all the golden color, the golden age, just as we discussed previously, right? Now that light goes straight down into the Ark of the Covenant, all right? If you've seen Indiana Jones, you've probably seen this picture. You've seen the Ark of the Covenant. You don't have to be a biblical scholar or expert. Your movies will teach you half of this stuff, okay? This looks like a Starbucks cup or something. Anyways, let's get back to this. The Ark of the Covenant, right? Not an actual box that Hebrews carried around or whatever. Could it be? Yeah, it could be. But it symbolizes something. It symbolizes the mountain at the middle of the world. Okay? The Ark of the Covenant, an ark is not just an arch. Like this is an arch. This is an arch of the covenant as well. But anyways, an ark is a box. It is a container. It can be seen as a box that contains life or a box that contains death, just as this mountain can be seen as the same. This mountain and others like it can be seen as containers that hold light, aka life or plasma. They can, when they're empty, they hold death. Or if there's positive and negatives of all of these too. Okay, so we've got like one over here. There's probably one down here somewhere. They're anode and cathode. They're positive and negative. So some give energy, some take energy. Depends on what side of the mushroom you're on, to use a quote from Alice in Wonderland. Right? One will make you bigger, one will make you smaller. One will give, one will take. One is considered coagulous, or to coagulate. What was that other word, that Latin word? Damn. I forgot. Anyways, one is separate, one's together, right? All right, let me not get distracted by my own little breadcrumbs in my mind here. Let's get back to this picture. All right, so the light comes straight down. It heads to the container, the Ark of the Covenant, right? Which has like manna inside of it, and it has a staff that grows into a tree. I don't believe this was an actual physical box. Okay, whether or not they made one, whether or not they had one, there is a quintessential Ark of the Covenant, which is this mountain at the center of the world. This is the Ark of the Covenant. There are angels, there are cherubim or covering angels that go over this entire island. Okay, this part I don't want to get too specific with, because I don't want to lose a lot of the new people with like the science behind it. Okay, maybe another time. And I have covered this before, but just in short, there is a dome of energy that goes all the way around this island. There is a star, a focal point, a torus of plasma that's very powerful that comes up out of this mountain. Okay, and the energy comes up and outward like a gigantic tire or a donut or a toroidal field that goes all the way around this island, and it touches the actual physical island at the edges, which is what causes the land to be pulled upwards, and that's why you have mountains all the way around the edge. Okay, Anyways, this is the box. That's all I'm saying. This is the container. This is the coffin. Sometimes when that light is gone, it represents death, represents sinful conditions, entropy in this world that we live in. Sometimes it's seen as a coffin, right? Sometimes it's seen as a temple of God, or a throne, or a seat, or a resting place of energy. All right, let's get back to that picture. Oh, so anyways, the cherubim, okay, the angels. Angels are not humans with wings. Angels are electromagnetic plasma configurations, and they look different. There's different types. Right now, they're called transient luminous events, right? They appear as sprites and blue jets and pixies and little balls and ball lightning and all kinds of forms, right? But my point is, there is plasma that wraps around and protects this island. The Bible refers to this as a fiery sword that turns every which way. It's actually turning all the way around. It's following a current. And that there will be a huge bubble of plasma over this island that helps to protect and keep it safe from people entering or inversely leaving. Okay? Those are the cherubs. That's why their wings have to bow inward and touch one another. That's why the Ark of the Covenant is always drawn with these angels on top of it, bowing towards one another. Their wings touching, okay? This all represents physical stuff in our actual world. Now, if this represents the firmament, if this represents the dome above, and there's a crack in the firmament, which is symbolic of the Kraken, the tentacles that come down into this world, the actual Kraken, sea monster from the waters above, Tiamat. What are these pillars? These pillars are seen. There's two pillars, two main ones, right? And then you have like a central beam of light that goes up from the middle. We'll talk about that central beam of light here in a minute. But let's talk about the two-pillar symbolism right now. There are always two pillars. Now, within Freemasonry, they might call them by different names. Sometimes they're called Boaz and Joachim. There's different ways to pronounce these words. That's fine, right? One implying strength, the other implying beauty. One is positive, the other is negative. Right? I will tell you what they are. Hold on, let me bust out a different map. Now, to give you a visual of what they physically are, these two pillars on Earth, and there are two pillars on Earth, okay? I want to go to this 1587 map made by a man named Urbano Monti. As you can see, this is a very interesting map that was drawn during the Middle Ages, where Antarctica has no ice. It's all land. It's tropical land, actually. And if we zoom in to the center of the world, we find some interesting things here. Take note, at the exact center, there is a letter. Take note of what that letter is. It is the letter G. At the exact center where that mountain would be. The letter G in antiquity is the same as our modern letter C as well, okay? It represents number 3 as well. This is 90 degrees north, the center of the world, the exact North Pole. Let's zoom out a little bit. We're going to talk about the two pillars, the anode and the cathode, as I like to refer to them. The pillar of strength and the pillar of beauty. There are other mountains on either side of this island. I showed you one already over here on Mercator's version where he's got this one. Let's zoom into this one just so you can see it because it's more popular than Urbano Monti's map. You see this? Right next to me? It says it's a magnetic mountain. There is no question about it. Polus magnetis. Some people will speculate and say, well, he thought maybe the North Pole, in order to account for blah, 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 he put another North Pole off to the side. No, this is not another North Pole. This is a mountain where a pole came up out of. The pole being a beam of light, a column of light, a pillar of light. This is why columns and beams and pillars and reeds and rods and staffs, etc., and so on and so forth were worshipped originally. They are the original religious symbol, a straight line. Now, because it's plasma, that straight line can morph and change and shapeshift into other images, or, can take different forms. You'll also notice there's a split mountain here. The top of this is open. There's a little circle right there indicating there's an opening in this mountain, which means it is a volcano. But it is a magnetic volcano. This particular one says, Insularo, looks like Capitis Viridis, which loosely translated means this is the island of life. This is the green island. This is the island where things grow. Which means if we have an opposite, a positive and a negative, an anode and a cathode, we should have and find on the opposite side an island of death. We don't have one on this particular map from Mercator, but Urbano Monti did include the other island. Now, let me show you that same exact island that we just looked at. Here's Monti's version. Polo de Magnete, la Isla de la Verde, right? Green, life-giving. This is the island of life on one side of the anode and cathode islands. We should find on the opposite end another one. We do. Here it is, right in the middle of the ocean, sticking up out of the waters. Now, it's hard to read here, but it says Polo de Magnete, another magnetic pole, another magnetic island, a lodestone mountain at the top of the world. And this one is called Husi Arca, which loosely translated means house of death, I would say, right? Like a coffin, a container of death, a container of warning, stay away, basically. This is a bad island. This is not an island of growth and greenery and beautiful stuff. One of these islands has an energy that gives. The other island takes it. So one island is abundant in energy and one island is lacking energy. They're positive and negative. Now, both of these islands, as you can see, flank this Garden of Eden at the center of the world. You can imagine we're looking down at the map, but if we were to take this map and flip it so that it's horizontal, we would see the energy beams shooting straight up as two pillars, as two poles, as an 11 on either side flanking this circle at the center of the world, which is the Garden of Eden, which is a circular island mass at the middle of the world, which is Atlantis and Hyperborea. You would see that. If you could look across towards the north, you would see the anode and the cathode beams from these two respective lodestone mountains, magnetic mountains, plasma volcanoes, simply put. You would see two pillars that mark the edges of the known world. That if you go towards those two pillars, you would now be going into some sort of fantasy land, some sort of a magical world. This is also commonly known as the Pillars of Hercules, which is located at the far western extreme of the world. This is west, down into the earth in the ancient world. Not that way forever. No, it's not west. There's no such thing. That's not east, going the other direction, okay? That's a modern concept because the world's upside down. All right, man, those are the two pillars, okay? Anode and cathode. They're the two witnesses. They act as the legs of a gigantic angelic being, which I can hopefully get to. But yeah, these are the two pillars, okay? And in the middle of those two pillars, you will always find paradise. You will always find the Fountain of Youth. You will always find the Garden of Eden and Hyperborea and the Western Isles and a magical place, a fantasy world. A place that is so full of energy and abundant in life that it just seems fantastic to us. Now, we've only covered a few of these. Okay, we're just getting it. These are the three wise men, the three magi, etc. The word magi, remember that word too, because it's related to the word Freemason. Magi, magus, magnet, etc. I can show you the connection here in a bit. Look at this cornucopia. That reminds me of the fruit of the loom symbol, which they don't have the cornucopia anymore. The Mandela effect, I think, is directly related to like all this. It's crazy. Let's see. What else do we want to break down? I'm not going to break down every single symbol, okay? But if you pay attention to my channel, I'm constantly breaking down many of the symbols that we're looking at. I think it's time to move on from this picture. Yeah, let's move on from this picture. Let me check my chat here, see if anybody has anything to say. Samantha Hambright says, by visions, Jay knows what I mean. Oh, I see. You're having a little conversation. All right, cool. Let's check out this apron. Okay, so Freemasons wear aprons. Why? Because they're cooks? Because they want to cook something? No. Is it because they're hard workers and they need an apron like a utility belt to stick in their tools and this and that? No, it's not. It's not it. This apron is made out of lamb's skin. You have to like kill a lamb to make this apron, which represents death immediately, like to me personally. Okay, not good, but whatever. Sacrificing the lamb. I'm sure that anybody can twist it into positive or negative. Depends on your perspective, right? It's all a polarity. Here's the 7 stars that we already talked about that represent the North Pole right over here, and the septentrion, the septentrionalis, the North Pole, right? So this is giving you a location of where they hearken from. They are from, their ancestors at the very least are from the North Pole. And that's how we're going to wrap this presentation up when I get towards the end. They are not the whole tribe from the North. So let me show you this map again. Okay, it's not like this is the island of the Freemasons. Don't get that twisted. There was 13 different tribes that lived here. The Freemasons, as you know them, are like one of those tribes that branched off into many tribes that took over the whole world. You would call them the tribe of Judah, I believe. But let's get back into the symbolic elements of the apron itself. Okay, so on one hand you have this round part that goes down. Once again, this is the apex dome. This is the hole in the apex dome, or the depressurization point, or the eye in the sky. You'll see this cloud that goes around the eye. Like I said, whenever the atmosphere is depressurizing, it creates fog and mist and stuff. You'll see the light that comes out, the squiggly lines. If you pay close attention, these lines are usually pretty squiggly. That's because there's plasma that exists beyond the firmament that comes down into our world to ground itself to the earth. All right? It's the eye of God. They will call it the eye of providence, and they'll call it they'll paint it all kinds of colors and flavors and whatever. It's neither good nor evil. It can represent both, depending on your perspective individually, okay? All it physically is a portion of the firmament that hangs down. This is Humpty Dumpty, make no mistake, okay? Humpty Dumpty, this is like symbolized in so many ways. This is Humpty Dumpty, okay? It's the hump that dumps and falls. This portion will break off and fall down. It's made out of ice, remember that. Just like a shell. Now, let's check out some other elements here. What else do we have? So we've got the 2 pillars. We understand what those are now. So we've got an anode and a cathode on either side of Hyperborea. Let's look at the middle here. So in the middle, we should find some sort of symbolic element that represents Mount Meru. And we do. It is the unfinished pyramid. This looks like it's just steps. It's not just steps. Steps to what? It's not steps. This is an unfinished pyramid. Okay? That's what this represents. The unfinished pyramid, every single time, represents Rupus Nigra. Every time. Okay? Because it's a volcano. That's why it's always unfinished. This mountain at the middle of the world over here is unfinished. It has no top. It is a volcano. All volcanoes are unfinished pyramids. If they're cone-shaped at the very least. You know what I mean? Alright, let's get back to this. Now, there's a book. This is the Bible. Interesting. Right? And it highlights 2 Chronicles chapters 2 and 3. Right here in this book. I'll probably go over the compass and the square here in just a minute. It's interesting. This one's upside down. Anyways, why this particular part of the Bible? Why is this highlighted? Right? This talks about the building of the temple. King Solomon's temple. Or the solo man. The one man. The first man's temple. Within Kabbalistic tradition, they call that one man Adam Kadmon, the first man. The first man is a beam of light that shoots up out of this mountain right here. Shoots up, separates at the top, and looks like it's holding its stick figure arms out. At the bottom, as I said already, there is a dome of energy that goes over this island, so if you're far away looking at it, you will see that stick figure man with its arms outstretched, and then you will see the dome of energy that wraps around paradise as legs. The squatter legs to the squatter stick figure man, Atlas. So, this particular chapter of the Bible discusses the building of the temple of God. Not like, I mean, I don't want to cause separation by talking about religion or whatever, but it's inevitable to actually talk about religion, you know? A lot of this stuff harkens back to these religion and their traditions and stuff. But it is the temple. I'm just going to be blunt. This is the temple right here, okay? This is the house. This is the ark. This is the container for the energy that comes up out of it, that saves the world, that changes the world, that energizes the earth, that reoxidizes our atmosphere, that brings growth and gigantic plant life and gigantism and all kinds of beautiful, wonderful, positive attributes. Start there. That's where they begin. All right. What else we got here? Oh, it talks about the temple. Now, this, if you start on chapter 2, it will tell you it's talking about a mountain. I don't even know if I have that verse pulled up. Do I have that pulled up? I mean, it starts, if I recollect clearly, by telling you it's talking about building the temple out of the mountain. I don't know. Anyways, you could look that up for yourself. This is the unfinished pyramid. These are not steps that go into some sort of man-made house or anything. This is the house. This is the volcano right there. And it looks like it's steps like that because it's probably a basalt column. Basalt pillars. You ever see those? Let me show you. Now keep this image in mind and let's look this up. Basalt columns. They're volcanic basically. And they're black. You see these? This is a great example. Here we go. Let's see. And there's also tiles. It creates tiles at the top of these little pillars. So this is where tilers and masons and laying the tiles and all that stuff, right? It's all symbolic for this. Let me find a good one here. Oh, here we go. This is a good one. See right behind me? Let's open this up. These are the steps of the pyramid at the middle of the world. The word pyramid means light inside of. That's what it actually means. Pyramid is a container for light, or should be, originally. This is an earthen pyramid. This is no man-made pyramid. No man can create the house for God. Okay? Anything else is just it's a feeble attempt. It's symbolic. This is created by the earth itself. These are the steps to a great pyramid at the center of the world, which is this mountain right here. It's a stepped mountain. It's a high and lofty tower. It is not like any of your local mountains. It is more similar to the Giant's Causeway or the Devil's Tower in Wyoming. JP Koff, what's up, dude? High five. Whoosh. Welcome to my channel. All right, let's continue on. Let's talk about the square and the compass real quick, but I want to find a better example. Let's see if I can find one. Oh, here we go. Here's one on this next page here. Let's look at this. I'll talk about the arm up, arm down symbolism too, if I can remember to come back to that. But right now I want to look at the square and the compass, okay? So these are two tools that you can use to draw particular shapes, okay? This one's a square. It's used to draw straight lines, etc. It represents 4. A square has 4 points to it, right? They circle the square, okay? Now we're going to get pretty deep here, but we're also going to be very simple. This is the square. It is also the square. It's also the circle squared, this island at the middle of the world. It has 4 quadrants. These are the 4 ends of the earth, which are at the center of the earth, not at the outside of the earth. This is the end of the earth, the end of the surface world where we live before you go down into the earth, into the hollow earth. 1, 2, 3, 4. Square. Symbolically. It is also the circle that is squared. which is used within Freemasonry all the time. Now, let me get back to the picture. All right, so the square itself represents the earth. Okay? Then you have this image of the compass, right? Now, a compass is something we use that points towards that mountain. As I said, it is the magnetic mountain at the center of the world. That is why your compasses point there. It makes a mountain with an eye at the top of it, symbolically. This picture is kind of blurry, but that's as big as I can make it. But as you can see, it makes the mountain figure of the triangle, one of the openings, the doorways, as we talked about, but it's unfinished at the top, and there's a little circle at the top. Okay, so symbolically, it is the mountain with the all-seeing eye above it. Okay. So this is a location. That's all this is. The square and the compass, it's a location. And it symbolizes the center of the world, right here. Where we will find on the Urbano Monte map, the letter G. The letter G in antiquity, why do they use that? Some people say, oh, it means God, it means grand architect or whatever. Yeah, it means all of those. It depends on your perspective. Because this energy that comes up out of the earth, like I said, builds things using the materials that are already here. Starting with gas, starting with noble gases, right? And electricity and magnetism and stuff. And it uses what it already has to build what you see now. So yes, in a way, you could see it as a type of God or mighty being or something, mighty energy or whatever. You could see it as a grand architect because it's shaping the world. It shapes that whole island around it. The island is created through electromagnetism, which is why, if you zoom out and you look at it, it looks like electricity went in all four directions. At least that's what I see. But the G at the middle. Remember I said letters were pictures originally, right? The letter G was a picture of a foot that is in motion. And that meant destination. It meant travel. It meant go here. That's why they use G for the middle. It is the ultimate destination. This is the Garden of Eden. You could say it's G for Garden of Eden. I don't know. You know what I mean? But symbolically, it is a foot that is in motion, which implies travel, which implies destination. Go here. Move. Go towards this spot. That's why they use the letter G. They'll also use the letter C sometimes too. It's the same exact glyph in antiquity. Now, the reason that you have like this red circle and like this 8-pointed star and all this stuff, that's not on the physical earth, obviously. We're allowed to look through the dome. This is a top-down view. So they can't show you the dome. It would block off the whole picture. And it would just be nothing. So they have to put certain things that are important on the dome, which is the apex of the dome at the center of the map. Hold on, let's take a quick break. Phil is in the chat and just sent 10 random JayDreamerZ channel memberships to people in the chat. So congratulations to Lucy Rose Up, high five. Keith in the chat. Brad in the chat. Exiting the Paradigm. Jamie Knight. Derek LaPlante. David J. Outside Dave. And Fred Wagner. You guys are all getting free channel memberships. That unlocks special emojis, special channel emojis you can use here in the chat, and I think in the comment section too. And it unlocks many of my like members only videos. A lot of those are on location videos where I actually go on location to different places like the Grand Canyon or, you know, the Petrified National Park or whatever, right? A lot of my special videos that I do that I'm not just doing it like this here at home. Anyways, enjoy that. Enjoy that. And thank you so much for supporting my work. I really appreciate it. If you would like to support my work, go over to Patreon, patreon.com/JayDreamerZ, and check out my different membership tiers. So I offer value for value. And that's how I make my living. Okay, I appreciate it. All right, let's jump back into this presentation and let's see where else we got here. So I talked about the square and the compass. Let's see, we got the G, the C, same exact thing. We've got the dual pillar symbolism. We talked about the checkerboard floor. Here's the coffin, right? The container of death, the black container of death, as we've discussed many times, marked by the skull and crossbones. This is upside down. Listen, let me, now that it's on my mind, skull and crossbones. This is where pirates come from, originally. I also talk about the origin of piracy and pirates in my second book. But as you can see here, the whole skull and crossbones deal, right? This is a location. This is where they are from. They are from this island, right? Which sometimes can be represented as an island of life, sometimes as an island of death. Depends on your perspective. Anyways, the X represents the quadrant at the center of the world. The skull in the middle is the place where Jesus died, which is Golgotha, which is the place of the skull, which is the mountain at the middle of the world, which is right here. Boom. Okay? So you got the cross section, the crossbones, however you want to see it, and the mountain, Golgotha, right there at the middle, where the light comes out, where the light retracts, and it buries, and it dies, and it goes back into the cave, etc. It's the whole story, right? The black and white symbolism, you have it all here. The word pirate means of the lights, or lights itself. These were beings who came from these islands. They were beings who were nomadic, travelers, shipwrecked, crashed, because their ships are attracted to these gigantic lodestone mountains, gigantic magnets, and they crash into them if their ship has any metal whatsoever, like iron nails. The ship's going to be attracted to these mountains and just, it's floating on the water. There's no way to escape it. This becomes a shipwreck island, and ships will just crash all the way around it. So those who do crash and survive will go through the debris and the leftovers and the rubble and the detritus and what's another fancy word? Oh, what do they call that? Zapata? What was that? What do they name that dude? Flotsam? You know what I mean? There's lots of words. Anyways, I'm just messing around. Anyways, people will crash their ships. They'll go around collecting the debris. They'll remake ships that don't have metal in them. And they'll go around collecting all of the rewards or all the leftovers and all the treasures and all the other stuff, right? And when they're able to leave this island, they go take all those treasures. These become the first pirates, the people from the lights. This is the island of lights. All right? These beams that come up from these 7 mountains and this central mountain. These were the original pirates. They were also Phoenicians. They were also Tartarians. They were also barbarians, or seen as such by people who they visited around the world. What's up, Alex? High five. Good to see you. PAF says Jay is well versed. Wise dude. Oh, thank you. Amber Hill says Jay is so fascinating. You guys are so kind. Thank you for all the... Oh, yes. Lucy. Good one. Skeletor. Castle Grayskull. Yes. All of the whole He-Man series is based on our world and what it used to be like during the time when there was energy and magic and superpowers and stuff like that. All right, let's get back to these pictures. Man, I'm going way slower than I thought I would today. And I still have a lot more to cover, so maybe I might split this presentation up into 2 and finish it tomorrow, but for now, we still got some more time. Let's do... Oh, the ladder. And the fallen pillars. You see that over here off to the side? So they have, the ladder is Jacob's ladder. This is also seen as a ladder, okay? So that the beam that shoots up is a beam of plasma, and it creates instabilities over time because it's just a fluid interacting with another fluid. So it creates these fluid instabilities or electrical instabilities that look like the rungs of a ladder as you go up. They're just little toroidal fields, okay? And it looks like a ladder that is going up into the heavens. This is commonly known as Jacob's ladder, which was seen as he put his head upon a rock. That rock is at the center of the world. This is the rock, okay, where Jacob rested his head. Jacob, I'm just going to keep going. Jacob, the word Jacob, the name Jacob, means one who takes the place of another. It's Yahakov. And it means supplanter. It means somebody who comes in afterwards. And it can be implied as survivors. Those who survive the apocalypse, and they now are the firstborn. They now have taken away the firstborn status of all those who are in the world we live in. Many people die through the apocalypse, and the survivors are the leftovers. They are the Nem, or the Nemo, or the Nimu. right? They are the chosen ones. Anyways, let's continue on with the pictures here. All right, so we're looking at the apron. Let's see. We got these columns. See how the columns are falling down? So here they have the columns upwards, but those are just beams of energy. Those beams of energy will fluctuate. This is where you get the arm up and the arm down symbolism, as one of these beams is going to be stronger than the other one. If in fact they are anode and cathode, as I suppose, one will inevitably take over the other one. One of them will die. It will retract and go back down into the earth, and then come up as it sporadically makes an appearance. This would be Tammuz, or it's symbolically the ancient god known as Tammuz. Tammuz was a god that constantly just sacrificed himself over and over and was reincarnated over and over. And people wept because there was less energy whenever Tammuz was gone. Hold on, I gotta adjust here. I want to say thank you to all the people who have donated to my PayPal. And I was able to get these really cool bohemian style pants I'm wearing right now. They were... I would not normally be able to afford some brand new pants, but I want to show you guys these pants, if that's not too weird. Can I show you guys? I got to stand up in my chair, but I just bought these from that place I took you guys to called Mountain Wookiees, right? Shout out to Mountain Wookiees. I don't know if they watch my channel, but check this out. They have like... they have this cool pattern. Can you guys see that? You see that? They got like pockets. Anyways, I just wanted to say thank you because, you know, it's because of all of you. It's because of you guys. You guys support me and it makes my life awesome. And I just want to say thank you. All right. Back to the presentation. Let's move on from this particular picture, unless you guys have questions or something, okay? What's up, Carmen Studer? Alex, good to see you guys. Kimberly. Annie is in the chat. Thanks. I love these pants. They're so cool. I like the whole bohemian vibe. Anyways, let's get on to this next picture here. The keys. Let's talk about these keys, because these keys are also seen within Catholicism and stuff. You see these cross-section keys. Anytime you see the cross-section, like I said, it represents the crossed rivers at the center of the world right here. Okay, this is the cross symbol. Okay, there can be other cross symbols, but this is the X. This is also a circle with an X in the middle, just like the X-Men, which are mutants, and there are mutants that live on this island, but usually those who are actually around this island. That's why they use it for the X-Men symbolism. Because of all of the energy that comes up during this next shift, it will cause mutations in DNA to those who live nearby, I'll say. The closer to the middle you live, the better off you'll be. You'll be protected. But anyways, that's another subject. But this is called the Tet. Okay, let's look it up. I want to show you this. This is important. The Hebrew word Tet. Tet, Hebrew, Paleo, Phoenician. Boom. Now we're going to look up the letter Tet within antiquity. And you can see it right there. Okay, it's the letter T. It's the 9th letter of the alphabet. So that's why 9 is a holy number. This whole island is an image for the ancient number 9. A circle with an X in the middle. That's how they used to write the number 9 in Phoenician. Excuse me. But if we go back here, you can see this is the Tet. Okay, and this is how it evolved over time. It kind of looks like a 6 right here. I don't know if I can... There we go. See how it looks like a 6? Well, like I said, our minds over time flipped all of these glyphs upside down. It becomes the letter 9, or the number 9 here. Here's the Tet again. It's a circle with an X in it. That's kind of small, but there it is right there. It's the X-Men symbol, basically. And that's why it represents those from this place, those from the Garden of Eden. The people who live the longest, the El, the Elu, the leaders of the world. Right? And the Freemasons use that within their ranking system as well. They will call themselves Elu or El-U. The U means of. El means mighty ones, strong ones. You could say gods, but it's still a little bit different. Anyways, these two keys, okay, you have an opening. The keys open the doors, okay? What are the doors? One door is simply the door of the earth, the surface world where we live, which is Mount Meru, which is one opening, one door, one dalet or triangle. The other one is above, right? An opening that leads out of the firmament. You can get out of this surface world where we live two main ways. Going down further into the earth, you can get out by going in, or you can get out by going up. And the direction of up within antiquity, just like I told you a long time ago, west was down, right? West was down into the earth, into the bowels of the earth, into the westernmost parts of the world. That's where Osiris is from. Osiris is the beam of light that comes up out of this mountain. And this is where his spine exists, the spine of Osiris. That is the rungs of that ladder that go up from the beam, like I was talking about, those instabilities. That is the spine of Osiris. And this is where it comes from, the westernmost parts of the world, down into the earth. The opposite of that is east, which is up. East is up. Let's see, let me get back to this picture here. Let's see, let me zoom out. I'm not sure what we're looking at here. There's a lot of symbols going on in this one. So yeah, that's the whole key symbolism. This key has the number 52 on it. I was going to ask you guys what you think about that. I haven't thought about that too much. Let me see if I could share that with you. See that little key? The actual key part has a number on it. I don't know if you guys seen that. See how it says 52? What is that about? I'm not a numbers kind of person, you know? So I wanted to ask what your opinion was on that. All right, let me see what else we got within this picture. So we got the steps that lead up to the temple, right, which is flanked by these columns or whatever. Now, you've got the two columns that have the archway above it, right here in the middle. We talked about the anode and the cathode, but there are many pillars at the center of the world. As I discussed, there's 7 septentrio, right? And there's 4 on the island itself, which is why the island is split into 4 quadrants. I believe that there are 4 plasma volcanoes actually on the outskirts of these islands right here. If that's true, we should fully expect this house to be like a, what do you call those houses that are outside, like a promenade or something? I forgot what you call those. But anyways, they have 4 pillars, 4 corners or whatever, right? 4 beams of light that shoot up from the middle. Now keep in mind, you're not going to be able to see them all depending on your location out here in the Southlands. Okay, so if there's 4 beams of light coming from these islands, you might only see 3 if 2 of them happen to line up, right? It depends on where you are. Perspective is important to consider. All right, let's get back to this picture. Let's see. Where were we here? There we go. The G, the center of the world. So that's what you're seeing right here. We've got the 4 pillars, the 4 columns, the center of the world, the anode and the cathode on either side. We've got a location of the coffin, the skull, the crossbones, the black house, the black ark, you could say. The black and white symbolism of jumping between ages and eons. The white mountain, the black mountain, the white mountain, the black mountain, the white house, the black house, same symbolism. Let's see, we've got, what else we got here? The T shape. Okay, I guess I could talk about the T shape. I don't know. It's the plasma that shoots up from the middle of the world. It can take the shape of like a crucifix, a cruciform. It can shoot upwards and look like it spreads out into a fleur-de-lis or the bird's wings of a cosmic bird or a firebird or a thunderbird or a phoenix or whatever, right? It can also be the Vav at the middle of the world. So let's check that out too. Do we have a Vav in here? Let me see if they have one. Oftentimes they'll show you, the Vav is the number 6. So a lot of people associate that with the devil, etc. The number of man. I'm not seeing a Vav in here, but they do include it sometimes. It's basically, it looks like the flux capacitor from Back to the Future. I'm not sure if I can see one in this particular image. There's, by no means, this is not like all of the symbolic imagery. But I do want to show this to you because it will come up when you look at Freemasonic symbolism. God, there's so much more to cover. All right, let's do this. Vav, Hebrew, Paleo, Phoenician. Boom. All right, let's look at how they drew the number 6, just like I showed you the number 9 before. And let's go way back into antiquity. Let me find a good example. Oh, this is one of my favorite ones. I like this one. All right, so I'm going to open this up. So this is Paleo-Hebrew, you could say. It's also Phoenician, right? It starts way back here with the picture of the ox's head, or the goat's, I mean, not a goat, the freaking cow's head, the ox's head, or whatever. That's the letter A, okay? So A, B, that's the foot that's in action. That's the foot, the leg, and the foot that's moving, walking, destination, just like I told you. G, right? Or C, you could say. You could just take that and turn it sideways. It's the letter C. All right, so A, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the number 6 over here. You see how it looks like the letter Y? That's how the number 6 was originally drawn. This is the beam that shoots up, and then it branches out, and it separates into arms of Atlas holding up the world above, or whatever. It's also the number 6. It's also the flux capacitor, right? Now, we have one of these at the middle of the world. Let's go back to the Mercator map. So imagine you have a beam of light that shoots straight up from this mountain. As it gets high up into the atmosphere, that line, that single column, will start to split into 2, which is your peace sign, by the way. If you hold it straight up, that's what that means. This is the symbol for peace. Okay? Let me just show you. I could talk about this all day. Peace sign. I'm going to show you how it's also the actual peace sign real quick. Okay? All right, so here's the peace sign. Boom. That's the Vav. That's why that's the peace sign. This right here is showing you the firmament, right? The freaking mountain at the middle of the world, and the beam of light that comes up from within the earth all the way up to the firmament. That's why that is the peace sign. This is a mountain and a beam that shoots up. Okay? Where was I? I got distracted. Sometimes I just go off on these tangents, and then I forget where I was. All right, we talked about the apron. This is also like Gmail. If you guys have a Gmail or whatever, this is the symbol. It looks like an envelope, right? And this, like I said, the doorway, the apex dome, it wasn't always curved like that. Sometimes it goes straight down. And when it does that on their aprons, it looks like it looks like a freaking envelope, which is what your Gmail symbol. And they put G right in the middle of it. It's all related. Where was I though? Oh, 9 represents finality and completion, says Alex. IX 9. Yes, very good. Oh, I was talking about the Vav symbol, right? Where was I? Stupid Vav. Oh, here we go. So the Vav. So, my point is, you got 3 of these at the middle of the world, 3 gigantic ones, with these sky beams that shoot up from the middle. So you've got the one that comes from Mount Meru. That's the Jesus Vav. That's the Jesus cross or cruciform, or, Irminsul, the Saxon world tree. Same thing. Let me look that up. Let's look at the world tree within Saxon mythology. Irminsul. Is that how you spell that? Irminsul. There we go. All right, so this is the Anglo-Saxon world tree. Now, this is interesting. Sometimes it's portrayed like this. Does this look familiar? This is the world tree within Anglo-Saxon lore, you could say. It's a pillar. It's a beam that shoots up to a circle with a cross in the middle of it. That is the apex dome reflecting the Garden of Eden below it. That's amazing. I love it. But that's not actually the Irminsul as it's traditionally portrayed. Here it is as it's traditionally portrayed. I'll show you. Which one do I want? There's a lot of different ones here. Let's go with... Come on. I like, they're all pretty good. Let's do... I mean, you're seeing lots of examples. I'm just being picky. I guess I'll just pick this one. Let's check this out. This is the Anglo-Saxon world tree. This is the beam of light that shoots up from the center of the world, which is this place right here. So this is the trunk. This mountain down here, that mountain is the trunk of Yggdrasil, which is the Norse world tree. That trunk will stay there, okay? Because it's a mountain. The beam of light is the actual rest of the tree, the branches and all that stuff that grows up out of it, okay? The geoplasmas that erupt, the gases that shoot up out of the inner earth, which is producing a lot of gas right now, because there's giant plants down there for a whole age and other things too. But anyways, this is the trunk. So we should see this within the Anglo-Saxon version, right? We should see this little plasma volcano at the bottom. Let's find out. We do. Let me zoom in on this. You see that? Right there. That is the trunk. That is the mountain. That is the plasma volcano. And then it's shooting a beam of light upwards to the heavens, where it then separates. And it starts moving about, creating these sort of eyes off to the side or whatever, right? This is also your totem pole and your wings of the Thunderbird at the top with the eyes underneath its wings and stuff like that. I mean, let me just show you a totem pole. It's the same thing. I could pull up any picture pretty much of a totem pole. Let's see if it works. Let's do it. This one, I guess, just for the sake of time, let's just pull it up. Boom, totem pole. All right, cool. So same thing. Irminsul. This is how they drew the world tree within Native America. Okay? You see the little circles off to the sides on the wings, right? Beam of light, beam of energy coming straight up. A bird, a cosmic bird of creation. All right, I'm getting like besides the point here. Irminsul, Anglo-Saxon mythology, the world tree. Same thing as the totem pole. Same thing as Yggdrasil. That's right. So there's 3 of those vavs. That's the point I wanted to make. Okay, that's the whole 666 devil, blah blah blah. It all depends on your perspective. Okay, but it's where man is created is 666. That's why it's the number of man. It's where the first man comes from. It's a location. So you have the middle one, neutral point, right, at the Garden of Eden, at the quintessential holy mountain of the world, shoots up, branches out, creates a Y shape, which is the number 6. Then you have one over here, also does the same. Then you have one over here somewhere, also does the same. One is positive, one is negative. This is Calvary. This is Golgotha at the center. Jesus is hanging at the center with a positive criminal and a negative one, a repentant one. This is the biblical story as well. All right. Lucy, thank you. Lucy knows I get in my head about like my rants and getting distracted and getting off topic. I guess I'm not off topic. I'm just going with the flow, right? Thank you. I appreciate it. Excuse me. All right. Let's see. Where were we? We talked about the Gmail envelope apron made out of lamb skin, blah, blah, blah. I think we were on this picture, right? This one right here is pretty much the same-ish. The ladder symbolism. So see the ladder over here, how it's 3 rungs? Right? Damn, I don't want to talk about that right now. Let me think. Yeah, I could. Let me go back to that alphabet. So it's right here. You see this? So remember, these are letters. Aleph, Bet, Gemel, Dalet, He, Vav, Zayin, Het. Het. If you write it out, it looks like Chet. C-H-E-T. Het. Hate. Depending on your pronunciation. Hate. 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 8. 8. 8. It looks like an 8 too, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Het. Chet. The ladder. If you turn this sideways, which I don't think I can, but if you were to do that, it would look like a Roman numeral 3. Let's go back to the ladder. There it is. At an angle, sort of sideways, right? With 3 rungs right there in the middle. Het. Why is that important? It's number 8. The number 8 is symbolic of this location, especially if you have 2 of them in a row. Let's go back to the alphabet, or the Aleph Bet, okay? This right here, damn. Let me do the Roman numeral. Roman numeral 3. Bam. Let's check it out. All of these things are related to one another. So, here we go. I want one that has the top and the bottom section here. Well, normally you would draw them with like a roof and a ground. I don't know why they're all separate. Oh, there's one. Why did I make it big? Okay, cool. we'll use this as an example. Okay. So if you turn this sideways, it's that same glyph that I showed you before right here, the het, the number 8. Okay, this gets a little confusing, I guess, but whatever. This represents also the Pillars of Hercules. Here's the 2 on one side, Pillars of Hercules, and the third beam, the central beam. Okay, the letter het, chet, 8, however you want to say it, this letter right here, the 8th letter of the Phoenician alphabet and the Paleo-Hebrew alphabet, it was a picture that meant an outdoor boundary marker that marked a limitation outdoors. Okay, so when you have 2 of them, 2 8s in a row, it's symbolic for the Pillars of Hercules, as we've already discussed. They're the boundary markers of the known world, right? When you have 3 of them, it indicates the whole island itself, the whole area from one side to another, right? And it also indicates a time when you have all 3 of them. What do I mean by that? I mean, you will always have those 2 anode and cathode appear first. Those 2 lights that erupt, all of the smaller caves will erupt with their lights first. The central cave at the middle of the world is the largest, and therefore it takes the longest amount of time to fill up with the fluid of plasma before it erupts. So where did I put that picture? This mountain, this opening in the earth will be the last one. The largest light, the biggest tree, plasma tree, however you want to see it, okay? The biggest column of light. That'll be the last one to blast. And it will blast. It'll erupt. It'll be a huge eruption. Anyways, those 3 pillars, those 3 lights, those 3 beams or whatever, that's what that symbolizes with the whole ladder thing. Jacob's ladder. What else we got here? I'm trying to find my pictures. I'm opening up a lot of web pages here. All right. Damn. We got a lot more to cover still. I'm gonna to be continued until next time. I'm gonna go make dinner and be dad and stuff. Do visit my Patreon if you would like to support my work. That, or you can donate through PayPal, and you can actually leave me a message. People leave really sweet messages sometimes with their donations. And I also have a P.O. box that you can find on my posts section here on YouTube. Just go to my main page, click on posts, scroll down a bit, you'll find my P.O. box. I was given a really sweet crystal lately. Nova sent me a pretty cool crystal that's sort of a blue color, and I really like it. And there's a possibility I might have found my first actual sponsor. So I don't know. I'm checking out their work. It's like this bracelet company, and you know, I don't want to say too much right now, but I'm checking them out. And I might actually have an official sponsor here soon, which is kind of cool because I vibe with their product. Anyways, I'm going to roll the credits. Thank you so much for your support, everybody. I appreciate you. Until next time, this is JayDreamerZ saying good vibes and goodbye.